monstrous stoush is looming in this state over one of the most important recreational fish species to families, the blue swimmer crab. What is happening behind the scenes at the moment is clouded in secrecy, manipulation, greed, and downright nastiness. Plans are underway to set the management plan for the commercial blue swimmer crab fishery, something I highlighted back in January. Most of the information used will be drawn from the Fishery Assessment Report, prepared by SARDI and published in April this year for PIRSA. Firstly, this report claims the research on the stock was carried out as a fishery independent survey. Here's the big word, independent. It used to mean at arm's length. SARDI used the vessel operated by members of the South Australian Blue Crab Fishery Association, Dennis Holder and Mick Aston, and their crew with independent observers to collect the data. This independence will be challenged, and rightly so. It's like having bankers accompany an accountant to look at the books of the banks and expect an untainted result. Just not on. Doesn't work, and the results will be clouded by the cloak of suspicion. Is it ethical and unbiased? I think not. Since 2015 in Gulf St Vincent and 2016 in Spencer Gulf, a program has been in place to transition from June-July surveys to March-April. They've done this because the commercial crabbers wanted the surveys to be undertaken earlier to reduce the time lag between surveys and annual quota setting. This is sinister. As SARDI claims, it does the surveys because June-July is the period when the largest number of juveniles recruit to the fishery. There's hardly any recruitment in March. So how can you get robust data and an indication of the health of the fishery by running the surveys in March? It's nonsensical. However, as a recreational fisher, I'm very wary of this move because of the past performance of the commercial sector and PIRSA in continually reducing recreational bag limits on blue crabs. Last December, we were cut 50% to 20 crabs, whilst an extra 50 tonnes were given to the professionals. There's equity there, don't you think? Now, here's a real con. SARDI noted that during its pre-recruit survey in March-April, the results declined 56% from 2015 to 16 and was below the reporting point in the draft interim harvest strategy. Now here's the foolishness of it all. SARDI claims that follow-up sampling in July to October indicated a high pre-recruit abundance, so its own research clearly demonstrates how flawed the March-April data will be. So what does this mean? Basically, the flawed data from the March-April surveys will be used to set the quota for the commercial sector, and because it will indicate the fishery has no pre-recruits, the blame will be on the usual fall guy, recreationals, and the recreational bag limit will be reduced again. The Holder family are on public record claiming they're going to build a blue crab meat processing plant in Largs North to produce canned crab meat for the export market. They already are the largest blue crab fishery enterprise in Australia and no doubt have a lot of pull within PIRSA circles. Remember, under its harvest strategy, SARDI says at point 2, the key objectives of the management plan are to allocate access to blue crabs to achieve optimum utilisation and equitable distribution to the benefit of the community. It is known that the majority of this state's blue swimmer crabs, about 80% of the catch, get sold on the Sydney and Melbourne markets where they get much more for their catch. So much for their banner claim that they fish to supply the mums and dads of South Australia with fresh seafood. What hypocrisy! The mums and dads can't afford to feed their families with blue swimmers from the commercials because of the high prices in the markets. All of this to cater for the 4 active licensed pot fishers in Spencer Gulf and the 3 active licensed pot fishers in Gulf St Vincent, who took a total of 656 tonnes last season. Using a Consearch published data from the year before that set the price at $11 a kilogram, this catch represents almost $1.1 million per licence. The Gulf St Vincent zone is closed between 1st of November and 15th of January to commercial fishers. It was closed because commercial fishers would target holiday areas off the Metropolitan Coast and eastern York Peninsula over the holiday period, denying the mums and dads and their children the chance to go raking with the hope of catching a feed of crabs. It was politically sensitive. But then, this closure was modified from 2014-15 to allow a temporary fishing trial during the closure period by the pros. This is going to be a main point of the battle that is looming, because there are indications this will be reopened for the professionals again. Don't be surprised if the recreational effort during this time will be closed because of claims that this is the time the female crabs are buried up with young. So the closure may well come on the back of the claim for sustainability of the species. But what about the commercial effort? The mums and dads and their families will be thrown over the trough again.